All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Pro Wrestling Society podcast. Sorry I haven't been on much lately, but in this particular episode, I'm going to be discussing the best pro wrestling feuds, in my opinion, so far at the top of my head. So, that being said, I'm just going to get right into it and pretty much um, break down my favorite feuds. So first one is Undertaker versus Kane feud. I thought that was the best, one of the best feuds of all time because of just the emotion and the dark past and everything, and just the way it all started and planned and progressed and planned out and things of that sort. I can remember watching this as a kid and seeing the Undertaker confront Paul Bearer in regards to family issues. Like I think the Undertaker's family was parents burned or something, and then Paul Bearer was like, "Kane, Kane, your brother Kane is coming." And he was like, "Your brother Kane is coming, Undertaker. You are gonna burn in hell. You'll burn in hell." God, that that wailing and crap, like that just freaked me out as a kid. Like I couldn't sleep just hearing that over and over, just repeat over and over in my head at night. I was just that just gave me nightmares. Um, that sent chills down my spine. That was just crazy. That was it's mainly because of the hidden past that that Paul Bearer was hiding from the Undertaker in regards to his brother Kane, um, and Kane got burned alive in that fire too, and he was pretty much devastated and put in an insane asylum and pretty much messed up in the head. And I've seen, uh, and I think that Kane, in his mind, I think he thought that the Undertaker killed his own parents by um, on purpose when I think it was probably an accident. Um, so, what made this feud so intense, so emotional, is how the Undertaker said he would never fight his own flesh and blood, but then that's exactly what he ends up doing. He realizes that he can't continue to let Kane beat him up and try to destroy his career and try to end his life. He has to fight back and stand up for himself. So he goes to his parents' grave during one of the promos and he breaks his promise. But then I like how rather than try to justify himself, he he wishes eternal damnation on his own head and punishment and hell and suffering and all that for breaking his promise. Um, that was that was just amazing. That was just wow. Uh, Undertaker has a lot of guts saying that, um, and then it culminated to a series of matches like the Inferno match, um, and then it got to like the finally got to WrestleMania, and then but before WrestleMania, I liked how the Undertaker his character progressed. He became uh, more powerful than ever before as the Lord of Darkness, and played mind games with Kane, and before pretty much the end of the feud. Um, Pretty amazing. So, um, and especially the stare down that they had, and just looking at their past and and what they could do to each other. And just, I mean, they're pretty much uh, Brothers of Destruction as the tag team title is named. So um, that's one of my favorite feuds. Next feud is the Stone Cold versus Triple H feud. I like that feud because because it just got insane. Like Triple H had a huge animosity towards Stone Cold over personal issues regarding I can't remember exactly what it was about, but I know that Stone Triple H tried to run him over with a car, and Stone Cold was obviously pissed and looking for for the purpose for the person who did it, and of course Triple H denied it, uh, but then he admitted that yeah it was me, and but he cut like an amazing promo about it, like he basically called Stone Cold out. He said when I tried to kill you, I saw fear in your eyes. And then he said the most memorable line ever. Like he said, uh, "Fear." When they said fear nothing but fear itself, they never meant me. Gosh, what a way to end the promo. That was like one of the most creative lines I ever heard of in wrestling. And then, of course, they got into their probably the bloodiest match of WWE history. It was uh, I think it was called the Three Stages of Hell match, or I can't remember, but it was just brutal. It was so bloody and everything, and they just went all out. Like they were exhausted and everything. Um, Highly memorable feud. So uh, next feud is Sting versus Vampiro feud. It was um, can't exactly remember how this feud started, but um, why it was so great. I think that Vampiro and Sting they took things to the next level. Like Vampiro, he tried to kill him several. He tried to set him on fire several times throughout the WCW run, and and I think he cut a promo on Sting, and he said, "I'm the monster you should have been," and that stuck out to me because Sting is a dark character, um, so being the way he is, it's like he should reflect that, but he doesn't because he's a hero. Um, so that was wow. He just got called out. Um, but I think what made the feud even more special was how they were trying to like I think they were trying to outdo each other with mind games, like um, like I remember one time where Vampiro tricked him and he made him think that he was coming down the rafters, only for Sting to find out that he was actually coming from somewhere else, and then he bashed him and he hung him from his feet, and then he just I can't remember how he did it, but like he mocked him and dosed him in pig's blood, I think, and pretty much beat him with a bat like a pinata, and just mocked his entrance, and I was like, that was not right at all. Um, and then of course, they had some unforgettable matches later on, like the graveyard match. Um, it's crazy. Um, Next one is the El Macias versus Dr. Wagner Jr. So if you're familiar with Triple A, then you'd know. Then you'd probably seen this feud before. It's basically um, the whole feud started because El Macias gained the the Triple A Mega Championship. Fair, he won fair and square, and as soon as he won, Dr. Wagner Jr. came back, um, and then they had a stare down, and basically, um, Dr. Wagner felt like he was entitled to the championship simply because he was Mexican and he was it was lucha libre was in his blood, and he was Triple A's main event star, so he felt like he needed the title um, rather than El Macias, who was a foreigner and he's from Puerto Rico. But El Macias stood his ground. He's like, no, I might be from Puerto Rico, but I'm Mexican at heart, and I won this fair and square. I won the respect of the people through blood, sweat, and tears. You didn't. You don't deserve this title. You just feel entitled to it uh, because of because of a nationality. But that's not what this is about. It's all about proving yourself as a wrestler. It's all about respect, gaining people's respect, gaining the love of the fans, and that's pretty much what made the feud so great, so epic, because it was just uh, crossing, it was the wrestlers from different nations crossing borders and meeting and getting into this huge rivalry, and that means a lot. That doesn't. It's not just about the title. It's about the fans. The it's about respect. It's about tradition, honor. All that's a lot of stuff. So, uh, and the matches that they had, that was just unforgettable. Like just how savage they got, how all the stuff they were doing was just unbelievable. That they could even like put themselves through that. So, um, wow. So great feud. So next feud is my personal favorite is the Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon feud. That feud. I like this feud because um, Stone Cold was not willing to conform to Vince McMahon's ideal of a champion. Vince McMahon wanted Stone Cold to dress up as this. He wanted him to dress up as a professional wrestler, like wearing tights or trunks, you know, the typical stuff that wrestlers do, and conduct himself in a professional manner. But Stone Cold, he said no. Like he just kept cursing and acting like a complete anarchist, doing whatever he felt like doing, not submitting to authority, and that's pretty much why the whole feud began. And then it just escalated down there. For they just hated each other's guts. Vince McMahon tried his best to control him and make him into who he wanted him to be, and Stone Cold refused. He pretty much rebelled against authority and pretty much uh, shamed him and did whatever he could to pretty much destroy him. And Vince McMahon did the same thing. Um, so That's what made the feud so great. I think it's all about standing up for yourself. It's all about accepting who you are, being who you are, and not letting anybody push you around and tell you who you should be rather than who you are. So that's why I love that feud. Next feud is Abyss versus Mick Foley. I thought this feud was memorable because um, simply because of their past. You know, Mick Foley was a hardcore legend in his time period, but Abyss was a new generation of hardcore wrestler. Um, so it was just incredible seeing two guys, one old school guy compete against a new school guy, and but those not only that, but I think what made it even more intense was how Abyss idolized Mick Foley and saw him at he was an inspiration, he was a hero, and to see Mick Foley betray him by bashing him in the head with the barbed wire and everything, that was disrespectful. Like that was a you could tell that hurt Abyss emotionally and physically too, but more emotionally than physically. So um, things got really heated, like in the during the promos and the segments in TNA, and Abyss he got to a point where he couldn't take it anymore, and he had to respond. He had to challenge Mick Foley to a match, hardcore match, and that's where that's where it just completely went downhill from there, like in a good way. But those matches, like that match that they had, was really bloody. Like it was hard to watch almost. So, um, but wow, they were exchanging heated words. Mick Foley was calling him a copycat and everything, and Abyss was calling him a has been an old an old geezer or something like that. um, so that was pretty crazy. And you can tell they were clearly trying to outdo each other to see who could be the more bloodiest, who could be the toughest, who could be the the most violent, the most brutal of them all. That's pretty much what made the feud stand out, make it so special. So next feud is the Jeff Hardy versus Matt Hardy feud. I like this feud because it fits so well. Matt Hardy became jealous of Jeff's popularity. You know, Matt Hardy was clearly the better wrestler, the more talented wrestler, no doubt about that. Um, you know, but he still felt jealous of Jeff Hardy because Jeff Hardy had heart, even though he didn't really have the skill, but he had the heart, and he was very daring. Um, you know, he was willing to put his body at risk, flying 20 feet off a ladder onto his opponent, and he won the love of the fans, and meanwhile Matt didn't. Um, so as a result, Matt turned on him, and they pretty much got in a huge brawl, series of brawls rather. Um, and then it just got to a point where Matt rejected him as his own brother out of jealousy and anger, and Jeff, he had enough of it, so he decided to pretty much beat him in a series of matches, and that was just unforgettable. You, I think the first one probably, or maybe not the first one, but like somewhere in between the matches, like probably the third or fourth or second match they had, um, Jeff Hardy was about to quit because he knew that Matt was a better wrestler. So he was like, you know what? Why do I even have to try? You could tell from his facial expression that he was about to quit. But then he said, no, I'm not gonna quit. Um, I'm gonna believe in myself. I can't let him keep bullying me. So I have to do something about it. I have to get back in there and pretty much try to stop him from winning the match. It was just unbelievable, and especially their I Quit match. That was absolutely insane. It was hard to watch. I didn't know whether I wanted Jeff Hardy to win or lose because he was just in tremendous amount of pain. Like the referee asked him, "Do you want to quit?" And he said, "No," defiantly, and then Matt would do something even worse in an attempt to make him quit. So that was just brutal. But then Jeff gets the upper hand, and the rest is history. So um, next match, the Sexy Star versus Mariposa match from the feud. Sorry, the feud that they had in Lucha Underground. That was crazy. That was unbelievable. Um, what I liked about this feud was how you don't actually know um, what happened to Sexy Star. You know she got tortured, but we don't know in what way. Um, we don't know what Mariposa did to her. All we know is that it traumatized her severely to a point where she lost her dignity, she lost her self respect, she lost her confidence, she just became really scared, and throughout the season until finally she just couldn't take it anymore, and and then she decided to fight back. She was tired of being pushed around, tired of being humiliated. Um, so she finally just, I think right before their match, she like just screamed her head off, and then they got in a huge brawl. Um, but then Sexy Star decided to take it to another level and get into an I Quit match, basically, or a No Mas match, and end things, do the same things that Mariposa did to her. I mean, we don't actually know exactly what those things were, but but I think that in a way, Sexy Star, in a way, she expressed that pain and that anger through hurting Mariposa the way she did during the match, and like when she tried to pretty much like destroy her crutch, like just bashing it with chairs and everything. Oh God, that was hard to watch. Oh man, that made me like they made my stomach churn a little bit, and and other stuff too. So that was crazy. That was unbelievable. Um, so next feud, the Rhino versus Christian Cage feud. I like this feud because it was really emotional. Um, Christian Cage betrayed his own friend by pretty much backstabbing him. I can't remember exactly how, but I think he robbed him of the championship. And not only that, but I think he he pretty much threw their friendship away, um, really selfishly, and Rhino wasn't okay with that. Um, in fact, during the interview that they had in TNA, Rhino was like, it's not the fact that you hurt me, but when you hurt the ones I love, like there's no reconciliation for that. You have to be punished for it. That was wow. Some harsh words for Christian Cage. Completely original. No, I don't recall anybody ever using that reason, that motive to do something, to you know that's what made it stand out. So, and of course the matches were just grotesque, whole nother level. So next feud, Abyss versus Judas Messias feud. That was pretty messed up. Not gonna lie, I think that was just crazy how um, James Mitchell betrays his own son. Well, not his own son, but like he betrays Abyss and goes with and uses his half brother Judas Messias to pretty much destroy him. Um, so it must have hurt Abyss pretty bad, just knowing that his own father betrayed him and hurt him in that way. So it so it culminated into like this really brutal, grotesque match, the barbed wire massacre match. Basically, just to punish each other and to see who was the um, most hardcore of them all, and you know who could pretty much out bloody who. Um, so they were pretty. I think they were pretty much fighting over their father um, at that point. And wow, what a way to do it! This made my stomach churn too. And the last feud that I have for today is the Raven versus James Mitchell feud. That was heated because James Mitchell had Vampiro shave his head bald, and he humiliated him in such a way that has never been done before. Um, Raven broke down psychologically and mentally and physically, as he said in his promos and stuff. And uh, he lost his identity from when that happened. But then he regained his identity later on when he said, you know what, I spent all this time thinking about what had become of me, and then I remembered uh, the Raven that I used to be, the Raven that was barbaric and savage and violent and everything, dark and everything, and then that's when he cut all ties with friends and family. He realized that he was being weak, um, so that's when he decided to uh, pretty much become more ruthless than he ever was, and that's which led to the Vampiro match and the Hangman's Horror match, and which that was pretty graphic. Um, so and then it culminated into him beating James Mitchell up in a hardcore match, um, which was also graphic, um, but also a great show of character development. Um, so yeah, those are all the feuds that I can list that are my personal favorites. Uh, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you have any feuds that you any favorites that you like to share, post them below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this, and peace out.